What I'm about to share with you is going to absolutely blow your mind. My friend Ryan Levesque is here today to share how a quiz funnel can help you generate cheap but highly qualified leads and how to immediately convert those leads into paying customers and clients, even if you're starting from scratch. So I had the opportunity recently to sit down with, at least virtually sit down with my friend Ryan Levesque. And if you don't know Ryan, he's been featured all over the internet. Like he's written multiple best-selling books. He's built a highly profitable, $10+ million company. He's got businesses across like 23 different niches and all types of markets. Got an email list, 250,000 people plus, all using the power of quiz funnels. So what the heck is a quiz funnel? Well, that's the first question that I asked Ryan. And it's actually a powerful question. He goes into depth into what quiz funnels are. Now, the short version is that quiz funnels are one of the, if not the best ways to grow your email list, generate cheap but highly converting leads, and turn them into paying customers quickly. And then when you combine that with affiliates promoting them and using affiliate marketing on the back end to monetize, like it's a powerful combination. Now, the longer version is, well, listen to my interview with Ryan. You're going to learn all about quiz funnels, how to use them in your business. This episode is packed with juicy nuggets and some game-changing advice from Ryan. He shares how to get leads for a fraction, like a tiny fraction of the cost of traditional methods, and then convert them into customers quickly. I'm going to just tell you what he shares in this episode. It's worked in dozens of niches, from flowers to dog training to memory enhancement, everything in between. It'll work for you too. It's going to be working for us because we're working on setting up a quiz funnel as a result of what Ryan is teaching. Also, you're going to love Ryan. You're going to love his energy, his enthusiasm, his passion for what he's doing, and the fact that he's an AFOL like me. He's an adult fan of Lego. So, I mean, if nothing else, that makes him awesome and cool. So with that, let's jump right in. Let's learn how to set up a quiz funnel and how to get it working for our business here with my friend Ryan Levesque. Ryan, my friend, welcome.
Matt, it's awesome to be here, man. Excited to dive in.
Yeah, me too, man. So I first heard what we're talking about back in February, before all this coronavirus stuff, where we could actually still get together in person and shake hands and hug and all that stuff. And we were hanging out at Rich Sheffrin's house, and I heard about some of the stuff that you've been doing with these things called quiz funnels.
Yep.
And I didn't have time to really get into it then with you, just because everything else going on. But so I'm going to ask you the question that I wanted to ask you when we were poolside at Rich's house. What the heck is a quiz funnel?
That's a great question. Well, like I said, man, listen, it's awesome to be here. Super glad that we're able to do this. And, to answer your question, what is a quiz funnel? A quiz funnel, you can almost imagine, it's not a quiz, it's not a funnel. It's as if a online quiz and an online funnel got married and had a baby. What would that look like? You'd have a quiz funnel. So in a nutshell, a quiz funnel is this. When someone lands on your website, instead of trying to directly sell your product, or instead of trying to directly get people to opt in for your email list or for a lead magnet, you begin by asking a series of questions to understand that person's situation a little bit more. So you can put them into one of several buckets. And based on that information, give them the best piece of content, the best resource, the best offer, a customized, personalized sales letter or video, based on those answers. At a high level, that's what a quiz funnel is in a nutshell. And we'll talk a little bit more about kind of the nuances behind how to make this strategy work so well.
Yeah, I want to really get into those nuances in a little bit, but why do these work so well? Because the stats that I've heard from you and your team are, and you can share, I'm not going to share those right now, but you can share those. I mean, they're mind boggling.
Yeah, it's
so why do these work so well?
Yeah, it's such a great question. So, why a quiz funnel? There's so many ways to sell and market online. Like why a quiz funnel of all the different options out there? Well, I'll give you 5 big reasons. So reason number 1, incredibly cheap leads. And what I mean by that is you can often cut your cost per lead down anywhere from 30% to 90% by putting a quiz funnel on the front end of your funnel. So instead of driving straight into a webinar or straight into your sales letter or straight into your opt-in, put a quiz funnel on the front of this. And, I'll just rattle off a few quick examples. I think of Mastin Kipp. personal development market. He was paying $6 a lead directly into his funnel. And he cut his cost per lead down to 76 cents per lead by putting a quiz funnel on the front of it. I think of Sean Penrod. He's in the running market, so he helps runners. He was paying $2.59, now pays 23 cents a lead after he switched to a quiz funnel. I'll give you one more. Beryl Young, photography market. She was paying $1.67 a lead. Now she's paying 14 cents per lead by putting a quiz funnel on the front of her business. So incredibly cheap leads. But it's not just that the leads are incredibly cheap, incredibly high conversion as well. And when I say conversion, I'm talking about sales conversion. So because a quiz funnel allows you to customize your copy and your offer based on a person's quiz answers, you can often double or even triple your sales conversion rates for your offer. So the example that comes to mind now here is I think of Andy Mackinson. He has an e-commerce business called Snack Nation. And basically it's a business where they send you a box of healthy snacks to your doorstep based on your preferences. And so they were running their business on the back of a traditional e-commerce funnel straight into the offer. And they decided to switch, test a quiz funnel against their traditional e-com funnel side by side in an A/B split test for 3 months. 3 months later, they look at the results and every single number across the board, cost per lead, average sales cycle, the average cart value, the amount of money people were spending, better with the quiz funnel versus the control. The bottom line was this: they tripled their revenue on the back of the quiz funnel versus their traditional funnel. So when they found that out, they said, all right, stop the presses. We're switching all of our traffic to the quiz funnel. They started ramping up their traffic. And as a result, they landed on the Inc. 500 list of the fastest growing companies in America at number 24. Literally only 23 companies that grew faster than them. And they did it on the back of a quiz funnel. So incredibly high conversion. But it's not just cheap leads and high conversion, it's incredibly high volume as well.
Yeah.
So you're often able to grow your list and your audience and your business anywhere from 10 to 80x or more by switching to a quiz funnel. And the example that comes to mind here is I think of Luis Carlos and his wife, Gabby. They're in the parenting niche. They're in the Spanish-speaking market. So they're based in Spain and Mexico. So they serve the Spanish-speaking market and specifically parents. They launched a quiz in the middle of COVID-19. World's falling apart. Countries are being shut down. Like businesses are closing left and right. They decided to launch a quiz. First time ever. They launch a quiz, and I'm going to share these numbers, Matt. They're going to sound like I'm making them up, but I'm actually understating.
If I didn't know, Lewis, I might push back on your numbers, but I already know them, and so you guys got to hear this. It's
so Luis and his wife Gabby, they launched a quiz, and they did 1,018,000 email subscribers in less than 10 days at a cost of 26 cents a lead. And get this, they made a 400% ROI on that traffic. So you can do the math, and they made over $1 million on the back of a quiz in the middle of COVID-19 and the world is falling apart. So incredibly high volume as well. You combine those three things together. So cheap leads, cut your cost per lead by 90%. You double or triple your sales conversion rate. You 10x the volume in your business. You think like that's enough, but there's another big reason why quizzes are so powerful, and that is you create an asset that represents incredibly valuable data. So when you build a quiz funnel like this, you're building an audience, a list, not just names and emails, but all the data behind those names and emails as well. And if you look at like the most valuable companies of our generation, right? You think about companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon. What's one thing they all have in common? They know more about us than like anybody else, right? Like they know everything about us. And so that data is so valuable. How does the small business owner like you or me, like how do guys and girls like us, like how do we compete against the big companies? Well, one of the ways we can compete is on the back of a quiz funnel. And I'll show you how valuable this data is. So there's a little company called Revolution Golf. And it was three buddies that were golfers. They decided to create a business together teaching golf online. And so they decided to create a quiz funnel. What is your number one swing killer? Take this quiz to find out now. They built a list of 2.1 million golfers. One day, on the back of this quiz, they get a call from a tiny little company called NBC. NBC calls them up and says, hey, we're doing this joint venture with the Golf Channel, and we're looking to put together an online platform that we're going to call Golf Pass, and we're looking to build our audience. Would you be open to selling your company to us? They said, well, if the price is right, maybe. NBC makes them an offer for over $20 million to buy their company and use that audience to build what's now today known as NBC Golf Pass.
Mm.
So incredibly valuable data on the back of a quiz like this, both for yourself in your business, and if at some point down the road you've thought, well, maybe I might want to sell my company, you're building an asset, a saleable asset that's incredibly attractive to an acquiring business. So incredibly valuable data. And then the last thing that I'll say is this is one of these rare strategies that you can feel really good about when your head hits the pillow at night, because it's not only one that helps you better sell in your market, but also better serve.
Yeah.
Like when you begin by asking questions to understand your audience, to empathize with their situation, so you can put the best resource or piece of content or best offer in front of them, you're ultimately serving your customer at the highest level. So you win for sure, but even more important than that, your customer wins as well. So when you combine cheap leads, high conversion, high volume, incredibly valuable data, and not only better selling, but better serving, it's one of these rare strategies that in my 15 years of doing this, I've yet to find something that is more of a win-win, more of a no-brainer to implement in your business than a quiz funnel is.
Mm. Okay, so before like the last 10 minutes, which were just were amazing. You already convinced us to set up a quiz. We actually had a team meeting about it this morning, to get things started. Um and if we have time today, maybe we can delve into a little bit of the nuances of that. Um but oh my gosh, so many questions I want to ask. So what does the let's start with let's start with oh man, this is so hard. Okay. So what are the types of quiz funnels that work best in your experience? 'Cause, I mean, you've been through dozens of these now. Which ones are the ones that actually end up having that perfect combination of all five of those things?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, whenever I share results like this, the big question people always ask is one of the following. They say, one, why isn't everybody doing this? Right? Number
That's my
one.
next question,
Yeah.
believe it or not. Yeah.
And number two, I tried doing a quiz and it didn't work for me. One
Okay.
of those two sort of variations. And the reason why people don't get results like the ones that I've just shared with you, and the reason why people get stuck comes down to like five big mistakes. These are five big mistakes, and I want to touch on these one by one, beginning with the one that you just brought up, which is, okay, what type of quiz works? Now, when it comes to building a quiz funnel like this, the first big mistake that people make is they have what's called the wrong hook, the wrong big idea, the wrong framework behind the quiz. When you have the wrong hook, you're going to attract the wrong type of people to your quiz, because this isn't one of these BuzzFeed quizzes that's designed to figure out what type of pizza is your dog.
Yeah.
Like it's not like,
Type
take
of
the
Disney character are you? Yeah.
what type of Disney? Yeah, it's not one of these quizzes. We're tapping into some of the psychology behind why those quizzes work so well. This is a quiz, and this is important if you're watching or listening to this right now. This is a quiz that's designed to create demand for the product or offer you're selling after people take the quiz. So the questions you're asking, the framing of the quiz needs to be very intentional. You and I could come up with a quiz in 10 minutes on this call that's going to get a bunch of people to click on it and fill it out. But you're going to get a bunch of people who are freebie seekers and not buyers of your product or service. So we want to create one that's going to lead people down this path that they're going to want to do business with you.
Mhm.
To do that, there are only three types of quizzes, three frameworks that make sense. The first is what we call a type quiz. Now, I'm going to explain each of these frameworks in a little bit of detail, but I want to kind of talk a little bit about the underlying psychology behind why they work so well. And as your audience may or may not know, so my background before coming into this online world, like my education, my background, what I studied in college was neuroscience. So I studied neuroscience at the Ivy League level at Brown University. And there was a point in my life where I thought, certainly my parents thought, I was going to go on to be a doctor and be a neurologist. So I've always been fascinated with the human brain. I decided to forgo medicine to sell ebooks online, like any good, son will, right? But I share that because I'm a geek and very fascinated behind the underlying psychology behind why things work. And I think it's helpful when you know sort of not just the tactical bit, but the strategy behind it. So a type quiz taps into the psychology of what's called categorical perception. That's just a fancy way of describing that as human beings, we do not do well when we are faced with an infinite spectrum of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
In order to make sense of the world, we need to put things into different categories or buckets. The best example of this is if you think about color.
Yeah.
So color exists on an infinite spectrum, but the way our brains make sense of colors, we put things into different buckets. Like this shirt is blue. Your shirt is, I think it's black. You've got a red book behind you. This is a green painting right here. Like we put things into different buckets, even though that's an artificial construct.
Sure.
Now, what's interesting about that is that we as human beings, to make sense of ourselves, need to put ourselves into different buckets as well. Even though we know intuitively that human beings, every single person is unique, we're a complicated species, everybody is different, we want to know, where do we fit in the world? Myers-Briggs, are you an INTJ or an ENTP? We want to know. Enneagram, are you a 9 or a 3? We want to know where we fit in the world. And so a type quiz taps into this need for categorical perception. And so the way we frame this in a marketing context is a quiz that's designed to put people into one of several paths where the set of steps or the recommendation for them is different than it is for other people. So an example of this in action is the weight loss type quiz. Weight loss type quiz is a quiz created by a health and nutrition company called Real Dose Nutrition. They work with us to create a quiz to help identify what is your weight loss type. Are you type A, type I, type G, or type C? There are 4 dominant types, and they all have to do with common hormonal profiles that most people tend to have. And we all fall into one of these broad categories. And it has to do with the imbalance that we have in our body relative to hormones responsible for losing weight. Hormones like
targeted by their Twitter ads every single day, for the record.
So you can probably see some of their stuff, right?
Yep.
So you take the quiz to find out what your weight loss type is, and based on that information, they prescribe the right type of diet, the right type of exercise, and the right type of supplementation that's going to help you overcome that imbalance. So that's an example of a type quiz in action. That's framework number 1. Number 2 is what we call a killer quiz. A killer quiz is based on helping people identify a mistake they're making in their life that's holding them back from getting the result that they want to achieve. The psychology here is the psychology of loss aversion. Basically, what that means is, for human beings, fear of loss is infinitely more powerful than the promise of gain. And I'll show you an example of kind of this in action. So imagine for a moment, if you're watching this right now, if you are a parent, I'm a parent, I've got 2 young kids. So just imagine for a moment you're a parent, you got young kids, and imagine you're served an ad on Facebook. The first 2 versions. Version number 1 sounds like this. It says, "Attention parents, how to raise a well-adjusted, contributing member of society. To learn more, click the link below now." That's ad number 1.
I fell asleep. Sorry, what? That was boring.
Ad number 2, "Attention parents, the 5 biggest mistakes that parents make that screw their kids up for life."
Oh my gosh.
Click the link below to find out now, right? Which one are you clicking on, right?
Yeah.
Like most people,
I don't want to screw my kids up. I mean, I'm totally clicking that second one.
Yeah, like first one is you're falling asleep to it, right? But the second one, because of this fear of loss, this condition loss aversion that we have, is creates this tremendous desire to learn more. So a killer quiz is one where you point out a mistake people are making in their life that's holding them back from getting the transformation that they want to achieve. Okay, I'll give you an example of this one in action. I think of Charlie Wallace. So Charlie is in the guitar market. He created a quiz called Progress Killers. Take this quiz to find out what the number 1 guitar progress killer you're making is in your business. Click the link to find out more below. Now, Charlie was making a few $1,000s in his month before launching a quiz funnel. Launches a quiz funnel, grows his business to today making $2.2 million a year. But it gets better, because the whole reason why Charlie started his business is because he wanted to pursue his dream, his passion of becoming a professional musician. So with the money that he made from this quiz funnel, he decides to release a record album with his band. And get this, the album, which I have a signed copy of here, I'm like such a proud older brother. This album right here, it's their debut album. You can see it's my signed copy. It's a heavy metal album.
That's awesome.
Charlie and his band released the album. It lands on the Billboard charts and hits number 12 of the best-selling albums in the world. And he's now running his business part-time. He and his band are touring the world. He just bought a Lamborghini. I mean, like he bought his dream mansion. It's like incredible, all in the back of his quiz funnel. So he was a guy who was sleeping in the back of a van a few years ago before doing this. And here he is now today, a multi-millionaire before the age of 30. So that's the
Awesome.
power of a quiz funnel in action. So that's a killer quiz. Third type, final type, is what we call a score quiz. Now, a score quiz is one where you help people identify the gap between where they are right now and where they want to be. And this taps into comparative psychology. Again, one of the ways that we make sense of the world is we are constantly comparing ourselves to both our peers and ourselves.
Yep.
So we're always saying, like, how is he making more money than me? How is she like have a better body than I do? Man, I should be further along in my career now than where I thought I would be at this point in my life. Like that is just how our brains make sense of the world. We're constantly making relative comparisons of ourselves against external environment. So a score quiz is one where you, again, identify the gap between where someone is right now and where they want to be to create demand to solve the problem that your product or service solves. Okay. An example of this one in action is the real age test. If you're not familiar with it, it's a test that was popularized by Dr. Oz a few years ago. Yeah, you're probably familiar with it. Anyone not familiar with it, basically it's a test you can take online. It's free. And the test goes like this. Your birth certificate, your passport might say that you're 35 years old, 45 years old, 55 years old, whatever. But how old is your body? Do you have the body of a 35-year-old or the body of like a 42-year-old? Take this quiz to find out now. Now, what's crazy about this quiz is that this quiz has been taken by over 40 million people online. So I want to invite you to just pause for a moment. Like just imagine logging into your Infusionsoft account or HubSpot account or whatever tool you use, your Shopify account, and imagine for a moment logging in and finding 40 million contact records. And not just name and email, but you know everything about that person's health situation, whether they have joint pain or back pain, whether they've suffered from hair loss or vision impairment. And think about the types of offers that you could put in front of that audience of people, not just your own offers, but other offers as an affiliate. That's the power of a quiz funnel in action. So first mistake is the wrong hook. The first step for anyone watching this right now is to identify, of the three that we've introduced right now, type, killer, score, which of these do you think makes the most sense for you and your business? Because there's truly no one size fits all answer. Some businesses could use all three. Some of them, it's going to be a very clear answer for which one is right for you. But that's the first step in starting to brainstorm what possible quiz might make sense for you. So that's the first big mistake. I know we're short on time. Other big mistakes, the four other big mistakes that people make, not just the wrong hook, the wrong offer. So you need to use something I teach called Band-Aid Cure. Your quiz results deliver the Band-Aid. Your underlying product delivers the cure. Mistake number 3 is the wrong questions. Again, these are questions that need to be diagnosing a person's situation and simultaneously creating demand for the product that you sell. Much like a skillful salesperson will ask good questions that actually creates demand in the prospect's mind, you're doing the same thing in the form of your quiz. So that's number 3. Number 4 is the wrong process. People think that, okay, I get it. So I start with my quiz landing page, then question number 1, question number 2, then the outcome page, and go from there. Well, the reality is you build a quiz in reverse. See, when you build a quiz in the order in which someone takes it, you end up building a staircase to nowhere. So you can just imagine that visual, building a staircase that goes to nothing. Instead, you want to start with your end in mind, the product that you're selling, and build a staircase that starts there and works your way backward down to the very first step. So wrong process is number 4. And number 5 is wrong technology. Every single one of the examples that I've shared here today, the one thing that they all have in common is that they all use the same piece of technology. It's a piece of quiz funnel technology that has been used by over 30 million people to create quizzes that convert. Not time-wasting quizzes like the one you see on BuzzFeed, not those like fake BS quizzes that you've taken before where everybody gets the same answer and everyone gets the same outcome, but it's a piece of technology that's specifically designed to convert clicks into customers via a quiz funnel. So when you've got the right hook, the right offer, the right questions, the right process, and the right technology, the type of results you can get are pretty incredible. And I'll wrap with one more example before we kind of talk about for anyone who's interested, like where do you go from here to learn
Yeah.
more. We launched a quiz in our business not too long ago, and took a look at the numbers before this interview. And in the last 3 months, in this one quiz, we've had over 164,000 people opt into the quiz. We've had over 32,000 people buy the product that we're selling on the back of the quiz. So 32,000
20%,
customers.
right?
Yeah,
Almost.
20%. Yeah. And what's crazy, and we've made over $1.1 million in the form of front end sales, one-click upsells, and products that we sell on the back end of the email sequence after people get their results. $1.1 million. That's one quiz, one market, and our cost per lead is 43 cents per lead in a market that people are otherwise paying 10 times that much to get access to traffic. So that's just the power of what's possible when you've got all the pieces in place.
And I love this. And there are so many takeaways that I'm going to share after we get off here. So much stuff. I love, love, love this, Ryan. So, okay. So everybody right now listening is going, yep, I got to have a quiz funnel. Like they're thinking the same thing I was, just a few months ago. We're working on ours. Here in the next couple of weeks, you guys are going to hear how you can actually get a backstage pass to how we created ours. Make sure you're on my email list, and I'll tell you more about that. It's gonna be pretty cool because we're in the process of creating ours now. But if somebody wants to take the next step, like they're like, okay, yeah, that's awesome. We don't know what questions to ask. We don't know the technology. We don't know, how to set up a hook. Maybe they don't have an offer yet. They need to know about the offer stuff. You're going to teach all of that. You're going to cover all of that in something. I just tell us about that real quick, Ryan, because I'm super stoked because my team and I are going to go through this with you. I'm
I
like,
know. I
totally
heard.
gassed. Yeah.
I'm super pumped about that, man. I'm super excited about that. So here's the deal. If you're watching this right now, your timing is perfect, and here's the reason why. Once a year, I host a totally free week-long quiz funnel workshop where we actually go through the process of how to create a quiz funnel from start to finish, beginning to end. And in this workshop, when you decide to join us, I hook you up with a whole bunch of cool things like access to a bunch of examples and case studies. I know one of the big questions people always ask is like, can I see some of these quizzes in action? So we're going to go through some real life quiz funnels. You're going to get access to my collection of quiz funnel templates. So think an e-com quiz funnel template, and a membership site e-com quiz funnel templates. You're going to get access to my entire quiz funnel blueprint, which is sort of the step-by-step process of how to build one of these quiz funnels from start to finish. And again, it's totally free, but it only happens once a year, and I'm teaching this live. So you have to join us and you have to be there. And I think the link that folks can join is, if I'm not mistaken, mattmcwilliams.com/quiz. Is that
quiz/quiz? Super easy.
Super easy to remember. So you want to go to that link. As Matt said, he and his team are going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be going live. I know we had like a very short amount of time, and this was just like off the cuff, sort of, spontaneous. But this is going to be structured teaching every single day, and I'd love to have you part of it. So mattmcwilliams.com/quiz, and that's the way to join.
Ryan, I know this, like you said, it was super last minute, and I am so thankful that you made the time to do this, man. Look forward to seeing you in that workshop, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure. And everyone watching this right now, can't wait to have you part of the workshop, and looking forward to diving right in.
So you may have noticed that I was taking notes during this interview. That's so cool. Like, I learned a ton. I've got a couple pages of notes here, and I wanted to share just a few of my big notes. Number one, the three types of quizzes that work best. Types. So what type of entrepreneur are you? What type of dad are you? The killers. He gave that example from Revolution Golf. One of the examples that he didn't share, but I know from one of his clients, is from Will Hamilton, who's in the tennis niche. And it's like, what are the things that are killing your doubles game, right? And then the score, which you compare and you have that gap that you're trying to fill. That was powerful. I also want to point out something. One of the beauties of quizzes is you have a product suite. We have a product suite. In our quiz, if you come in through our quiz and we don't have a product, we don't have content and a product that will help you with your problem, with the problem that you have, or where you're at in your business, then we're going to refer you to affiliate offers. We're going to recommend products and services to you that we don't have to be able to serve you best. And the cool thing is it allows us to focus on like the 10 or 30% of people that we can truly help. And then everybody else, you're going to get help from people that we recommend, but we're going to make the best recommendation for you. That's the beauty of these quizzes, is like, even if I don't have the product, I can still serve you and I can still monetize. And then I love the fact he didn't touch on this, but one of the quizzes that he helped with was Michael Hyatt. And we worked with Michael Hyatt in the past. He was a client of ours, and we worked on his assessment. Assessment in this case is similar to a quiz. It would be a score quiz. And people will go through this life score assessment. And I'm going to tell you that the affiliates who promoted the assessment converted at 2.5 times the rate of the other affiliates. These things are powerful, and they're a great way for you to promote as an affiliate. So if you've got an affiliate program, set up an assessment, set up a quiz. If you're looking for something to promote, look for quizzes, look for assessments. You can try ours here coming up in just a few weeks when it's ready and tested. So look for those opportunities where this is a really great way to promote on the front end. So again, go check out Ryan's workshop coming up here like right now. Go to mattmcwilliams.com/quiz, mattmcwilliams.com/quiz. You can get in on Ryan's workshop. You want to do that before it's too late, because he only does this once a year. You do not want to miss that. And remember that my team and I will be there. So you might see me in the chat, might see me in the comments. Who knows? I might be making some snarky jokes. I have no idea what we'll be doing, but we'll be there. We'll be learning and taking notes right here with you. I'm going to be taking a ton of notes and learning how to set up our quiz. So come learn with us. Like I said, you do not want to miss this. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.